Viewer discretion is advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Buckle up because we're diving into the jaw-dropping, mind-bending testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial that nobody saw coming. This isn't just a Hollywood scandal. It's a full-on earthquake shaking Tinseltown's glossy veneer. It's the kind of story that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the glitz, the glamour, and the gatekeepers behind the scenes. So grab your popcorn, silence your notifications, and let's unpack this wild ride together. Picture a courtroom so tense you could hear a pin drop on a red carpet. Reporters are gripping their pens like they're auditioning for the Hunger Games. The gallery's packed with insiders, influencers, and industry heavyweights, all perched on the edge of their seats, waiting for the next bombshell in the Diddy trial. And then, boom, Keanu Reeves, yes, the Keanu Reeves, Mr. John Wick himself, strolls up to the stand. You'd expect him to glide in with that calm Zen energy. Maybe toss out a profound one-liner like he's Neo dodging challenges in the Matrix. But what he delivered? Oh, friends, it wasn't cinematic slow-mo. It was a chilling, calculated recounting of a night that sounded like it was ripped straight from a psychological thriller. This wasn't a script. This was real, too real, and it's about to flip Hollywood upside down. Let's rewind to 2014. Keanu's in LA. Filming, minding his own business, probably petting a puppy or rescuing a kitten in his spare time. Because that's just Keanu being Keanu, the internet's favorite human. Out of nowhere, he gets a cryptic invite from Sean Diddy Combs. Not through an agent, not through a studio, straight from Diddy himself, like he's sending a VIP pass to an exclusive club. The message? Short, mysterious, and dripping with intrigue. Private dinner, no agents, just creatives, come alone. If you're Keanu, you're probably thinking, okay, unusual, but I'm curious. He's cautious but game. He's Keanu Reeves, after all. The man's faced stranger things than a shady dinner invite, right? Wrong. So very wrong. He pulls up to a gated mansion in the Malibu Hills, a place so secluded it might as well have Mystery Manor etched on the gate. No paparazzi, no valet, just a lone security guard who's like, hand over your phone, Neo. No devices allowed. First red flag, folks, waving brighter than a premiere spotlight. Keanu steps inside, and it's not a house, it's a mood. Candles flickering everywhere, like someone's staging a seance for A-listers. Soft music hums from invisible speakers, setting a vibe that's less dinner party and more secret society initiation. Mada! And there at the center of it all is Diddy, standing by a dining table set for two. No staff, no other guests, just Diddy and Keanu, surrounded by shadows and silence. Cue the suspense music, because this is about to get wild. Diddy pours the wine, flashes that megawatt smile, and says, Keanu, glad you made it, let's talk legacy. Legacy? Sounds lofty, like they're about to brainstorm an Oscar-worthy biopic. Keanu's probably thinking, cool, maybe it's a music doc or some artsy project. Nope, this wasn't about movies. This was about something far stranger, far more unsettling than any Hollywood pitch Keanu had ever heard. He later told the Courtroom it felt like a slow, surreal descent, less of a dinner and more of a recruitment ritual. Y'all, when Keanu Reeves says something feels like a ritual, you know it's not just a quirky Hollywood moment. This is next-level, eyebrow-raising odd. Diddy starts talking, but it's not about scripts or studios. Oh no, he's waxing poetic about power, secrecy, and earning entry into the higher rooms. Higher rooms? What is this, an elite club or a Hollywood penthouse? Diddy's pitching a role that doesn't follow the usual rules. No script, no studio, just an immersive experience that redefines you. Keanu's sitting there, probably wondering if he accidentally wandered onto the set of a mystery film. But then Diddy drops a condition that made the courtroom gasp. To prove his loyalty, Keanu would have to participate in an unusual ceremony involving a bath. Not a metaphor, not a joke, but a specific head-scratching condition that sounded like it belonged in a conspiracy thriller. Let's hit pause and process this. Imagine you're Keanu Reeves. You've fought villains, dodged challenges, and surfed on a bus going 50 miles an hour in speed. You're no stranger to bold ideas. But someone telling you to take part in a strange bath ceremony to prove your loyalty? That's not a pitch. That's a riddle wrapped in an enigma. Keanu, bless his heart, thought it was a quirky joke at first. He's like, haha, good one, Diddy, what's the real project? But Diddy's not laughing. He slides a black folder across the table. No storyboards, no cast list, just a single sheet called the Loyalty Framework Agreement. 7 bullet points, written like they were crafted for a secret society. Stuff like, trust the process even when blind. Speak of this to no one. Enter the water of rebirth. And my personal favorite, cleansing is mandatory. Cleansing in a bath? I'm sorry, is this a movie or a wellness retreat gone rogue? Diddy even hands him a black stone, yes, a literal rock, and says, carry this into the bathhouse. You'll step into the ceremony and you'll come out new. New? New? The only thing Keanu's coming out of this with is a million questions and a sudden urge to double-check his locks. Diddy leans in all intense and says, water holds memory. That's why it matters who you share it with. This isn't a spa ad, this is straight-up mystery vibes. Keanu's face in that courtroom said it all. He was unsettled then, and he's unsettled now. At this point, Keanu's instincts are screaming, get out, Neo! He politely declines, thanks Diddy for the wine, and makes a swift exit. But as he's leaving, Diddy calls out, you'll come back, they always come back, they just need time to understand what legacy costs. Legacy costs? More like peace of mind costs. Keanu gets to his car, and his phone's waiting in a sealed black envelope with a card inside that says, loyalty is tested in water. I'm sorry, is this a dinner or a deleted scene from a secret society drama? Now let's talk about what happened next. Because this is where the story takes a turn from strange to downright chilling. After that night, Keanu's career starts to shift. Not in a loud tabloid headline way, but in a subtle, almost invisible way. Like someone's editing him out of Hollywood's script. Projects dry up. Collaborators stop returning calls. Producers he's worked with for years suddenly misplace his number. It's like he's been quietly removed from Tinseltown's VIP list. 3 days after the dinner, his phone rings at 3:17 a.m. No name, no number, just static and a long, eerie breath before the line goes dead. This happens 5 more times over 2 weeks, each call creepier than the last. Then Keanu finds a black envelope tucked under his windshield wiper with a note. Unfinished rituals have consequences. Signed with a single letter. S. Mysterious? Oh, you bet. Keanu's like, I'm not jumping to conclusions, but this is beyond odd. He tries to move on, tells his agent who's like, forget it ever happened. But the agent adds a warning. Some people don't like hearing no, especially when they think you're one of them. One of them? What, an exclusive Hollywood club? Keanu keeps working, but the setbacks keep coming. A promising indie film he's set to star in loses funding days before production, like someone flipped a switch. A cameo in a major franchise? Cancelled, no explanation. Just erased like it never existed. A director he trusts pulls him aside and says, I don't know what you walked away from, but it got attention from the right people. The right people? Who are we talking about here? Studio execs or some shadowy council? Keanu's starting to feel like he's in a real-life Matrix, only this time there's no red pill to wake him up. By now, Keanu's piecing it together. This wasn't just a weird dinner, it was a test. Not for a movie, but for something bigger, stranger, and way more complex. He starts noticing patterns in Hollywood, like a detective connecting dots on a corkboard. Artists who say yes to Diddy's projects skyrocket to fame. Think overnight superstars who seem to come out of nowhere. Meanwhile, those who say no, they fade into the background, their careers stalling like a car running out of gas. At a black tie gala, an actress he knows, someone he's worked with, someone he trusts, pauses just long enough to whisper, you said no, didn't you? And glides away before he can respond. It's like Hollywood's playing a game of high-stakes chess, and Keanu's the only one who doesn't know the rules. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about Hollywood's underbelly. Because Keanu's story isn't just about one bizarre dinner. It's a window into a world where power isn't just about talent or hustle. It's about who you know, what you're willing to do, and what you're willing to ignore. Think of Hollywood like a giant, glittering casino. On the surface, it's all bright lights, big wins, and Instagram-worthy moments. But behind the velvet ropes, there's a high rollers room where the real bets are placed, and the currency isn't money. It's loyalty, silence, and sometimes your principles. Keanu's testimony pulls back the curtain on that room, and let me tell you, it's not a pretty sight. Back in the courtroom, Keanu drops another bombshell. During that dinner, Diddy casually mentioned major stars, hinting they'd proved their loyalty by joining the ceremony. He's like, you ever wonder why he rose so fast? Loyalty. He took part in the ritual. Keanu won't spill all the names. Our man's too classy for that. But he confirms some of the biggest actors in the world were part of that conversation. The courtroom's in shock. Jurors are scribbling like they're writing the next Variety expose. And even the judge looks like she needs a coffee break to process this. Keanu's like, I didn't want to believe it, but when I saw those same people dominate the industry while others faded, it started to add up. It's like watching a puzzle come together, piece by unsettling piece. Let's talk about the second meeting, because if you thought the dinner was wild, this is where things go full Black Mirror. Months after the Malibu mystery, Diddy sends another invite. Come see the vault. Keanu, against his better judgment, because let's be real, curiosity is a powerful drug, agrees but only at a neutral location. Instead, he's whisked to a Beverly Hills penthouse that looks less like a home and more like a high-tech surveillance hub. No windows, barely any furniture, just screens embedded in the walls and a faint hum like the room's got its own heartbeat. Diddy points to a set of locked drawers, each labeled with a name. Not files, not contracts, secrets. He says, everybody's got leverage. I just keep mine organized. Then he offers Keanu one last chance. Just show up, we'll record the silence, that's enough. Silence? This man's collecting secrets like they're rare vinyl records. Keanu, true to form, politely declines and walks away, but not before Diddy whispers, "Silence is loyalty, don't forget that." That line hits like a plot twist in a thriller, and it sticks with Keanu. Fast forward to the trial, and he's finally breaking that silence. Why now? Because he saw Cassie Ventura's testimony, heard the recordings, and realized this wasn't just about him, it was a system. A system of influence, control, and secrets tucked away behind Hollywood's velvet curtains. He tells the court, "I could have spoken years ago, but I was hesitant. Hesitant no one would believe me. Hesitant I'd be the one who takes the fall for exposing the system." Let's take a step back and unpack why this matters. Keanu's testimony isn't just about one weird night or one odd ceremony. It's about the invisible strings that pull Hollywood's puppets. Think of it like a high school clique, but with higher stakes and fancier outfits. You've got the popular kids, the A-listers, who seem to get every role, every endorsement, every red carpet invite. Then you've got the outsiders, the ones who don't play by the unspoken rules, and they're left eating lunch alone, metaphorically speaking. Keanu, by saying no to Diddy's test, became one of those outsiders. And in Hollywood, being an outsider doesn't just mean fewer party invites. It means your career can stall, your projects can vanish, and your name can be erased from the guest list. Now, let's talk about Keanu's career post-dinner, because this is where the story gets even more intriguing. Keanu's been a Hollywood staple for decades. Bill, Ted, Speed, The Matrix, John Wick. The man's resume is a blockbuster marathon. But after that 2014 dinner, something shifted. It wasn't a loud crash, like a scandal or a public feud. It was a slow, subtle fade, like someone turned down the brightness on his star power. Roles that seemed like sure things fell through. Meetings with studio execs got rescheduled, then canceled. Collaborators he'd known for years started acting like he'd forgotten their lines in a scene. Keanu told the court about one incident that hit hard. A charity campaign he'd helped organize for years suddenly dropped him. He got a curt email. The board has decided to move in a different direction. Later, he learned the campaign got a massive anonymous donation right before he was replaced, by an actor with ties to Diddy's circle. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you start connecting the dots, it feels less like chance and more like chess. Here's where it gets even juicier. Keanu wasn't the only one who noticed the pattern. Other witnesses in the trial echoed his story, painting a picture of a Hollywood where loyalty tests weren't just quirks. They were gatekeeping mechanisms. One witness, an up-and-coming musician in the early 2010s, described a similar dinner with Diddy. Same vibe, candles, cryptic talk, and an offer to join an exclusive project. They said yes, and their career took off like a rocket. Another witness, an actor who declined a similar offer, saw their promising career stall overnight. They went from booking major roles to auditioning for commercials with no explanation. It's like Hollywood had a secret handshake, and if you didn't know it or refused to learn it, you were out. Let's break this down with a relatable analogy. Imagine you're at a new job, and the boss invites you to a team-building retreat. Sounds fun, right? But when you get there, it's not trust falls and campfire songs. It's a weird ceremony where you're asked to do something bizarre to prove your loyalty. Say no, and suddenly your desk is moved to the basement, your emails go unanswered, and your big presentation gets postponed. That's what Keanu's describing, but on a Hollywood scale, where the stakes are Oscars, multi-million-dollar deals, and your name in lights, or not. Back to the courtroom, because Keanu's testimony didn't just shake the room, it shook the industry. He described another chilling moment from that dinner. Diddy casually dropping names of A-listers who'd done what they needed to do. No specifics, just vague hints like, "You know why she got that trilogy? She didn't ask questions." Or, "He's in that superhero suit because he joined the ceremony." Keanu's like, "I thought he was joking, but he was dead serious." First, the courtroom was so quiet you could hear a juror's pen scratching. Keanu said he didn't want to believe it. But over the years, as he watched those same names dominate while others vanished, it started to make sense. It's like Hollywood's a game of Survivor, and only the loyal make it to the final tribal council. Let's talk about the fallout, because Keanu's story didn't just end with him walking away from that dinner. The months and years that followed were like a slow-motion thriller. Those creepy 3 a.m. calls kept coming, each one a reminder that someone was watching. The black envelope on his car? That wasn't a one-off. He found another a few weeks later, this time with just a single word: loyalty. No signature, no context, just a vibe that screamed, "We're not done with you." Keanu's agent tried to downplay it, saying, "Hollywood's weird, just move on." But even the agent seemed spooked, warning Keanu that some people don't take rejection lightly. Then there was the Hollywood benefit gala, a glitzy black tie affair where everyone's air-kissing and posing for the cameras. Keanu's standing by the bar, probably sipping a soda because he's Keanu, when a famous actress he's worked with before sidles up. She leans in, whispers, "You said no, didn't you?" and floats away like she's in a perfume ad. No explanation, no follow-up. Just a cryptic mic drop that left Keanu reeling. It's like everyone in Hollywood knew about Diddy's test, but nobody was talking, at least not out loud. Let's zoom out again. Because this isn't just about Keanu or Diddy, it's about the system they're both part of. Hollywood's like an iceberg. You see the shiny awards shows and blockbuster premieres, but 90% of it's underwater, hidden in private dinners, hushed conversations, and deals you'll never read about in Deadline. Keanu's testimony shines a flashlight on that murky underwater world, where power isn't just about who's got the best script or the biggest box office. It's about who's willing to play the game. And the game, as Keanu learned, comes with rules most of us can't even imagine. Now let's dive into the trial itself, because Keanu's testimony wasn't the only shockwave. Other witnesses painted a picture of a Hollywood, where Diddy wasn't just a music mogul. He was a gatekeeper, a puppet master pulling strings behind the scenes. One witness, a former producer, described Diddy's dinners as legendary in certain circles. They weren't just meals. They were auditions for loyalty, where the guest list was exclusive and the stakes were sky high. Say yes, and you might wake up with a record deal or a starring role. Say no, and good luck getting a callback. Another witness, a dancer who worked on one of Diddy's tours, said they were offered a special project that came with a similar loyalty test. They declined, and their contract was mysteriously terminated the next week. This brings us to a bigger question. How deep does this go? Keanu's story suggests Diddy wasn't acting alone. He was part of a network, a system where loyalty was currency and silence was the price of admission. Think of it like a secret club with no name, no address, and no paper trail. You don't apply to join, you're invited. And once you're in, unless you say no like Keanu did. Then you're out, and not just out of the club, out of the game. Projects vanish, doors close, and suddenly you're on the outside looking in, wondering what just happened. Let's talk about Keanu's decision to speak out, because that's the heart of this story. He told the court he almost stayed silent. For years he wrestled with what he'd seen, what he'd heard, and what he'd experienced. There were moments when he wanted to talk, when he heard rumors about other artists, saw careers implode for no reason, or watched Diddy's chosen ones soar to new heights. But something always stopped him. Sometimes it was a subtle warning from a friend. Don't be the guy who takes on the system. Other times it was just fear. Fear that no one would believe him. Fear that he'd be painted as the paranoid one. Hollywood's got a way of making you second-guess yourself, like you're the only one seeing the glitch in the Matrix. What changed? The trial. When Keanu saw Cassie Ventura take the stand, when he heard her describe environments that sounded eerily similar to that Malibu dinner, something clicked. He realized his story wasn't just his own. It was part of a bigger picture, a tapestry of secrets woven through Hollywood's power structure. He told the court, "It wasn't just about me, it never was. It was a system, and I'd seen too much to pretend otherwise." That's when he knew he had to speak, not for revenge, but for clarity, for the truth. Let's paint a picture of that courtroom moment, because it was electric. Keanu's sitting there, calm but resolute, his voice steady as he lays out this wild story. The jury's hanging on every word, some scribbling furiously, others just staring like they're watching a movie unfold. Diddy's defense team is squirming, throwing out objections like they're playing whack-a-mole, but the judge shuts them down, one after another. The gallery, those Hollywood insiders who showed up to support Diddy, are stone-faced, their smirks long gone. One juror's visibly emotional, another's writing like they're drafting the next bestseller. And Diddy? He's staring at the floor, jaw tight, like he knows the tide's turning. Keanu's final words are the kind of moment that gives you chills. He looks at Diddy and says, "You told me legacy had a price, but I'd rather be forgotten than remembered for joining your ceremony." The courtroom goes silent, like the air's been sucked out of the room. Reporters scramble to their phones, sketch artists race to capture the tension. And for the first time, you can see it in the defense team's eyes. They're rattled. This wasn't just testimony. It was a reckoning, a quiet but seismic indictment of a culture built on secrets and power plays. So what does this all mean? Let's break it down with another analogy, because I know you love those. Imagine Hollywood as a giant glittering maze. From the outside, it looks like a dream. Red carpets, flashing cameras, adoring fans. But once you're inside, you realize the walls are moving, the exits are hidden, and the only way out is to follow the rules. Keanu's story is like a map of that maze, showing us the traps, the dead ends, and the gatekeepers who decide who makes it through. By saying no to Diddy's test, Keanu chose a different path, one that came with consequences but also with integrity. Now, let's talk about the broader implications. Because this isn't just about Keanu or Diddy, it's about the industry as a whole. Hollywood's always had a reputation for being cutthroat, but stories like this suggest something deeper, something more systemic. It's not just about who's got the best agent or the hottest script. It's about who's willing to play ball, to bend the knee, to keep quiet. Keanu's testimony raises questions we can't ignore. How many others were invited to similar dinners? How many said yes? And how many, like Keanu, said no and paid the price? It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, and every layer reveals another secret, another deal, another name. Let's dive into some speculative territory. Carefully, because we're not here to spin wild theories. But you can't hear a story like this and not wonder, what else is out there? Keanu mentioned other names during that dinner. Stars who proved their loyalty and went on to dominate the industry. He didn't name them all. Again, Keanu's too classy for that. But the implication is clear, this wasn't a one-off. Diddy's ceremony was part of a larger pattern. A system where loyalty tests were the price of entry to the A-list. And if that's true, who else was involved? Not just Diddy, but other power players, other gatekeepers, other vaults full of secrets? It's like finding one spider in your house. You know there's probably more hiding in the walls. Let's bring it back to Keanu because his story is the heart of this. Why does his testimony hit so hard? Because it's Keanu. The man's a living legend, not just for his roles, but for his reputation. He's the guy who gives up his subway seat, who tips waiters like their family, who rides his motorcycle through LA like he's just another dude. In a town full of egos, Keanu's the one who seems untouched by the glitz, the one who'd rather eat a sandwich on a park bench than flex at a rooftop party. So when he steps up and says, "I saw something and it wasn't right," people listen. It's like your favorite teacher telling you the school's got a secret basement. You trust them because they've never steered you wrong. Let's talk about the courage it took for Keanu to speak out. Hollywood's not exactly a safe space for whistleblowers. Speak up, and you risk becoming a pariah, your career reduced to a footnote. Keanu knew that. He told the court about moments when he almost spoke up, when he saw other artists disappear, when he heard whispers about Diddy's dinners, when a friend texted him in 2020 saying, "Now's your chance. If you speak, I'll back you up." But fear held him back. Not fear of Diddy, but fear of the machine. Fear that he'd be labeled the crazy one, the guy who saw conspiracies where there were none. It wasn't until the trial, until he saw others like Cassie come forward, that he found the strength to step up. And when he did, he didn't just testify. He dropped a truth bomb that's still reverberating through Hollywood. Let's paint one more picture of that courtroom, because it's a moment worth revisiting. Keanu's wrapping up his testimony, his voice steady but heavy, like he's carrying the weight of a decade's worth of secrets. The jury's glued to him, some jotting notes, others just staring, trying to process the wild ride they've just been on. Diddy's defense team is in chaos, lobbing objections like they're trying to put out a 5-alarm fire. But the judge isn't having it. She's locked in, listening to every word. The gallery, once buzzing with whispers, is now silent, the air thick with tension. And Diddy? He's not looking at Keanu. He's staring at the table, his jaw tight like he knows the script just flipped. Keanu's final line is a knockout punch. "You told me legacy had a price, but I'd rather be forgotten than remembered for joining your ceremony." It's not just a statement, it's a declaration, a line in the sand. The courtroom holds its breath, reporters scramble, and the defense team looks like they just saw their blockbuster flop on opening weekend. This wasn't just testimony. It was a moment that could redefine how we see Hollywood's power structure. So what's the takeaway here? Keanu's story isn't just about one bizarre dinner or one strange ceremony. It's about the cost of saying no in an industry that thrives on yes. It's about the invisible gatekeepers, the unspoken rules, and the secrets that keep the machine running. Hollywood's like a beautiful mansion, but Keanu's testimony shows us the locked rooms, the hidden staircases, and the shadows nobody talks about. By speaking out, he's not just telling his story. He's shining a light on a system that's been operating in the dark for too long. All right, fam, that's the story. Surprising, thought-provoking, and straight from the courtroom. This isn't just tea, it's a whole teapot of revelations. If Keanu's testimony blew your mind like it did mine, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment below. What do you think about Keanu's story? Are there more secrets hiding in Hollywood's shadows? Let's keep this conversation going, because the truth's out there, and we're just getting started. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next video with more insights you didn't see coming. Peace out.